As a leader, one of your key responsibilities is to make decisions. And by definition, if you need to make a decision, that means there's more than one good choice. Because if there's only one good choice, there's nothing to decide. Just do the one good thing. And because you're leading a team, chances are that there's at least one person that supports each of the choices. And so when you pick one, you're going to be disappointing the people that supported the other choices. And they might even be frustrated and maybe even mad at you and kind of putting it on you personally. So not just frustrated with your decision, but they're frustrated with you for making that decision. And that's okay. You're not a leader to be popular. You're a leader to get people from where they are to where they need to be. And you need to make decisions along that path. Now, that said, nobody likes to be unpopular, and we all want to be liked. So how can we minimize some of those repercussions of making those decisions and try to keep the team together on things? Well, here's a few ideas. One, make sure you're asking for input. Make sure you understand the different options and why people support those different options. People will feel better with your ultimate decision, even if it's not in their favor, if it's not the choice they supported. They'll feel better if they feel like they were heard, like you took the time to understand why they supported things and what their reasons were, and that you listened and took those into consideration before you made your decision. So make sure you're getting that input before you make the decision. And two, when you want to wait as long as you can to make the decision, to make sure you're getting all that information. Unless you absolutely have to make a decision, put it off and keep gathering information. Now, there's some diminishing returns at some point where more information isn't really changing what direction you should go. So, but if you can take some time, do it, because more information is usually better up to a point. And you don't want to make a decision after you should have, but you don't necessarily have to be super early either. So make sure you're taking all the time that you have to get the information to make the best decision. And third, communicate. Communicate after you've made your decision. Let people know why you decided. You can remind them at that point that you did listen to them and got their information. You can remind them that you waited as long as you could to make the decision, to make sure you got as much information as you could. But ultimately, you had to make a decision. Here's the decision you made, and here's why you made that decision. And by doing those three things, you can really help people to, one, understand your thinking process. So as you're helping to grow people into being leaders themselves, they'll see your process and understand your process of how leaders make decisions. And two, they'll just feel better that they were included and that they understand your thinking. They still may not agree with it. They still may be really attached to what they wanted to do, but they'll at least understand where you were coming from. And if they're grown-ups, which they should be because they're working for you on your team, they'll realize that your job is to make decisions and that you're not always going to make a decision that makes them happy, and that's okay. Your job is to make decisions. You're making the best decision you can. You're listening to them, getting their input, and then moving forward. And that's the role they're going to be in if they ever move up into a leadership role. So make sure when you're making decisions that you're getting input, that you're waiting until you need to make that decision, and then you're communicating back to everybody to make sure they understand what you did and why you did it. And by doing that, you're still not going to make everybody happy, but it should at least help you keep your team together as you as a leader make those tough decisions.